Real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Skills podcast is dedicated to real conversations about issues, emotions, and experiences that affects the lives of everyday people.
I know that's right.
Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast. Welcome to the I Am Kiana Skills podcast, episode 14, sponsored by the Closet Experience Boutique and Delightful Cakes and Catering. I am your host, Kiana Skills, and I have the influential Aquanette Cooper with me today, co-hosting.
Hello, hello.
Today we will be discussing sexualization of Black women in the media. Hello, Aquanette. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Kiana, and yourself?
I'm doing pretty good.
Fantastic. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's jump right into this episode and talk about Black women being viewed as sex objects. There is no doubt that women all over the world have been demeaned, underappreciated, and even belittled as sexual objects through sexualization and objectification, specifically in the media. But the Black woman is the most disrespected of them all. Black women are more manipulated and dehumanized more than any race of women that I can think of. Think about it for a minute. In the media, Black women are oftentimes given the role as the slut, harlot, or whore, the ratchet girl or hood rat. You know what I'm talking about, that hood rat, hoochie mama. The role of the stripper down in the valley where the girls get naked. If you throwing bands, then you know she gon' shake it. 1, 2, break 'em. 3, 4, rake 'em. Now don't act like y'all ain't never heard Two Live Crew and Uncle Luke shout those hoochie mama words. My old school listeners, I can see you now reminiscing back to the Freaknik or those days you turned up in the club or at them house parties. Heck, some of y'all still partying at the club every weekend, and you're there from the start of happy hour until the close of the club. I'm not judging. Do your thing, shake your thing. Whatever floats your boat and rocks your chair, cause I don't care. Oh, wait a minute now. Don't act like y'all haven't heard or watched that P-Valley television series. You know, with Uncle Clifford, the owner of the Pink down in Chucalissa, Mississippi. And all his rules: let the stage be a stepping stone, not your tombstone. Okay. Ain't no crying at the Pink. Woo child, let me stay on task, because y'all know I get off task easily. And I got to teach listener land something today. And you know what? We're even as Black women given the roles as BM. For those of you that don't know what that stands for, that is baby mama. Not to mention the role as the Jezebel. I know, right? I want to give a little insight of the word Jezebel. Jezebel is a slave construct and stereotype that paints Black women as having an insatiable sexual appetite and someone who uses sex to manipulate men by becoming a conniving, or by being a conniving temptress who cannot be trusted. For my believers, you may know Jezebel biblically as the infamous treacherous queen that used manipulation and seduction to mislead the saints of God into sin of idol worship and sexual immoral wickedness. I know. That's all I can say. Aquanette, in your opinion, do you believe Black women are viewed more as sexual objects than any other race? And if so, why?
I do believe that. There's several examples. The ones that come to mind right now, like you said, P-Valley is one of them. But unfortunately, in our culture, in music, especially music, even music videos, you remember back in the day there were the video vixens. Why she gotta be a vixen? And like you said, there's the BMs. A lot of us are casted as baby mamas and not wives. So what's the problem here? So for some strange reason, we do get typecasted. And I'm not saying, I'm using that word loosely, because we don't just get typecasted in the movies or in the TV shows, we're also typecasted in real life because of what the media has portrayed for us. So it can be challenging. It's been very challenging. Somebody will actually approach you and say, well, isn't that what y'all like to do? Wait, what? Huh?
Right.
Who? Not me.
Right.
So, and I'm just speaking very general right now, but there have been situations where it is expected for us to just naturally be very seductive and sensual. The expectation is to objectify.
Yep.
And not to see that we have intellect and that we have, emotions. And, we could take it even further to when research was done.
Right.
Medical research was done on us because they thought that we could handle it, but we were really being tortured.
Right.
So those are just a few points that, I can talk about at this point. So yeah, we're definitely, in my opinion, and it could be a matter of just my perspective, but I am a Black woman. So I'm going to always be aware and relate to what I see that looks like me. Right. And I would prefer to see more of what I like to look like me, not the hoochie mama, not the baby mama. And to be honest with you, when I was younger, that was something that I thought was just terrifying. Like, I don't want to be nobody baby mama. That's awful. You don't get love. Like, that's what I saw. I saw that you don't get love. You don't get support. And that's just the way I looked at it. Unfortunately, that was just what I saw from my experience. But I know, that's not always the way it is. But yeah, it's tough out here.
And you thought that because most movies portray it as such. It's like, she's got the struggle of being a baby mama, or that single mom, you're begging the baby's father or the baby's dad to do right.
Or the family.
Right, or the family. And it's just, and the crazy part about it is when we do see those type of movies, it's always like the Black woman is also bitter in those roles.
Exactly.
Like, she can't have the man.
Right.
She's just the baby mama. Yeah, we can go on about that. But yes, you're right about that. And it was really scary. It's like, wow, I don't want to end up like that. Because if you think back to Baby Boy.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, if we gonna go there, I mean, that's just one thing. Just
Jody.
that Jody. I mean, that was it. That Jody.
Yeah. Yep. She was always in a state of angst.
Yep.
And that's something that it doesn't have to be like that. And I just wish that we could see more of that. I do know now, I would say probably in the past 5 to 10 years, there are more movies that are trying to portray, not just the Black community in general, but especially Black women in a happier light.
Yes.
And, one of our episodes we did talk about, skin color and things along those lines. And what I've always been happy to see is when they do have, more brown complected women that are happy.
Yes.
That are really progressing, that are doing well. Because unfortunately, the media is what teaches everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody has access to media. Maybe not TV, but they have access to media.
To some sort of media.
Correct. So we definitely have to find different ways and different, programs to actually, I guess, censor, not just for our kids, but just for our older, young adults, because they're still learning too.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So let's discuss what it means to objectify and sexualize a woman. Sexual objectification occurs when a woman's body parts, or sexual functions are isolated from her whole and complex being and treated as objects simply to be looked at, to be desired, or to be touched. Hypersexualization or sexualization of public space involves the attribution by the media of a sexual character to a product or behavior that has nothing inherently sexual about it. It ignores a woman's personality and her dignity. That's like just shocking. It's like, wow, that's a lot. It's like basically just strips her down to just her body.
Object.
Yeah, an object. So as I was thinking about this episode, you know what? I started thinking to myself, and I said to myself, why is sex being used so often in advertising? Like, it just started baffling me. Like, just thinking about which way I want to go with this episode. So it just made me just start thinking about all the commercials I see and advertisements I see. So you know what? It didn't take me long to come to my conclusion. My conclusion is that sexual advertisement can effectively and immediately attract the viewer's attention, even if the sexual images have little or no relevance to the product being advertised. And I said to myself, damn, that's deep. Dang, wow. The advertisers feel the need to add what they deem as shock value to try to overstimulate consumers. That let's keep the consumer's attention long enough for the ad to persuade the consumer to purchase the product or service being offered. Companies tend to believe that by displaying this shock value or sexual content, the brand will be more memorable. In my opinion, I think that's what they do it for, in people's minds. Or in this day and time, I think they try to do it to become a viral moment. Everybody wants to become viral. Very much. Where I don't know why we want everything. Every moment has to be a viral moment where the product goes viral and they become very successful and they get an influx in sales. Because after all, you know what they say. What? Sex sells?
It does.
Sex sales is probably, the most cliche in advertising. If you think about it. Let's, like I said, as I was doing this episode, I just started just pondering, really going into deep thought about what is sex selling. Sex sells anything from lingerie, sex sells jeans, heck, sometimes even sells hamburgers, water, and liquor.
And if I could add to that, I was actually just remembering the Doritos commercial. Way, well, not way back in the day, but several years ago. Why do we have to look at a woman that society viewed as gorgeous to be interested in Doritos or Budweiser?
Right.
So those were some very, very relevant commercials back during Super Bowl. I think, it was during Super Bowl.
I'm going to say, I think it's Super Bowl.
Yeah, during Super Bowl. And it's interesting because the food has nothing to do with the sex appeal.
And for some reason, I know this episode is about the sexualization of Black women, but when you said that, I was thinking about Paris Hilton popped in my head in a Hardee's commercial. I think she was washing the car. It's a hamburger commercial, but her and another person were washing the car. She walks in. Some kind of way it's about the car, the bikini. They just, the way they're dressed is very sexual. But it's a Hardee's commercial. They're selling a hamburger. Why are you selling me ASS? You know what I'm saying? With a hamburger. This when we just talk about the lettuce, the bun, let's talk about the hamburger. Right. But it was so sexual. Somebody's washing the car and going up and down the car. And
like you said, sex sells.
Sex sells.
Unfortunately.
Y'all know we ain't lying. Sex sells. Listener land, let me hear you say, they ain't lying.
They ain't lying.
Yes. We ain't lying at all over here. So, what do you think? What is your opinion about companies using sex to push a product? Like, I feel like it's really not necessary, but what do you think?
So I used to be not in advertising, but I took advertising courses in college. And the top 3 categories that sell are babies, puppies, and of course, sex. And of course, sex is actually at the very top of that. And unfortunately, the society that we live in is very driven with that type of, it's lust. That's all lust. It is. It's fantasy. Lust. So I think that some commercials or some advertising can be done without it. I mean, if you look at just any other food commercials like we're talking about, it just shows somebody really enjoying the food. Right. Like the Popeyes chicken sandwich that people went crazy over. All the man did was sing. Right. And people went crazy over that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. I just think it's just a matter of what the companies are wanting to do and what they're wanting to portray. And honestly, I think it's a cry for desperation. I think it's to get sales up, or maybe they're in a lull for whatever reason, so they've got to do something that's going to, grab everyone's attention. And the issue with grabbing somebody's attention, you still have to hold it.
Right.
So it's always a temporary fix whenever they do. Yeah, it's always a temporary fix whenever they do use sex to do it. So, and then if we also go ahead and we talk about, you spoke about lingerie. I was actually going to bring that up because if you think about it, there are some companies, they do use, I'll say maybe like a sensual type of way to sell the underwear. And then there's others that are just like, we're just having fun.
Right.
We just feel comfortable. We feel great. We're laughing. And some people may view that, well, that's cheesy. Nobody's really that excited in their underwear. How do you know?
Right.
When I match, I'll just be very transparent. I feel so much better about life just all together. So it just depends on the person, but it doesn't have to always be sexualized. And it would be great if we didn't always go to that as the first resort and just use a little bit more intellect on how we can grab the audience's attention.
And you're right about that, because it just made me think. It's like it's almost like they don't care about the audience. It's like, oh, we don't care. We'll sell them anything. Sex sells. Just they don't care. Just I don't know. Just with advertisement these days, it's just like, oh, let's just throw some. Like I said, it's just a wow factor. Let's get it sold. Let's see what it'll do. Let's see how far we can go before. What is it? The FCC or whatever they call the regulations.
The regulations,
it's almost these days. Let's see how far we can go. It's pretty much what it seems like. But you know what? You shared with me a magazine cover from a magazine called, I believe, Stylist, the Fashion Issue. And it featured Precious Lee, who I believe is known as a model. Someone in the room can correct me if I'm wrong about her being a model. I think she was a model. But she is featured on the cover in a spread eagle stance as she squats with her legs gapped wide open. In this position, with her dress falling down the center of her open legs to cover her, what I call Miss Kitty, aka her private parts. If I'm not mistaken, the cover was in 2022, so maybe last year to be exact. I started to wonder why this particular pose and not a model stance pose, showcasing her ability to pose as a model. Because from what I know of the lady, she's a model. Or them making it more fashionable, the cover more fashionable, so it can bring more attention to her wardrobe. She had a nice dress on, and the shoes were even nice. Because I mean, the pose did capture my attention, and it did. But the first thing I noticed was just her legs spread,
right,
before it made me look at her outfit,
right, the fashion,
yes, the fashion. Because I'm like, if it's a dang gone fashion issue, I should be more focused on the fashion, but I was more focused on her legs gapped open. So that made me go back to the sexualization and objectification of Black women, because she's a Black woman on this cover. Now, some may say that the cover lacked creativity and it objectified another Black woman in the media by the way she appeared on the cover. I mean, like I said, when I saw it, it just made me curious on why they chose.
Right, that's the
that
question.
Stance. Like,
right.
I would would have loved if maybe some kind of way, if the editor or somebody with the magazine ever listens to this episode, chime in, let us know, because I'm curious. Like I said, because it was a fashion, I wanted what I assumed, or was it for the shock value? Were you going for the shock value of it? Because I'm thinking fashion magazine, and I'm a fashion girl, so I want to see the fashion.
Right, like you said, a fashion stance. So when I saw this, I thought exactly the same thing. I also went a step further, and I thought, well, did she say this was okay?
Right, that's another thing. Did she say it was okay?
Was this something that she had any input in? And that could be a whole nother podcast topic for another day. But at the same time, those are things I do know that models do deal with, especially coming from being in similar situations before. Even if you just don't even like the pose that they're putting you in, you have the right as a model to say, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, but I don't know what was at risk for her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So those are just things just out of curiosity. But again, I'm like you. Okay, I saw her pose before I saw the dress at all.
Right.
And that was just, to me, it's a huge distraction. And I hope everyone out there in listening land gets a chance to check out the cover, because to me, and again, this is about perspective, mm-hmm. I just saw someone that was trying to portray this black woman tribal.
Right.
And I didn't appreciate that. That's what I saw. That's what I felt. And again, I'm not saying, I don't know what her background is. Mm-hmm. I don't know where her origin is. At the same time, it's just something that I just couldn't relate to. I didn't understand it. And that also, now some people will say, well, you know what, it was fine. She was covered.
Yes, she was covered. I would give her that, mm-hmm. if she was covered. But I think it was spread. It was they have to see the legs. It was spread.
She is spread open.
And she's musky. I like that, them arms. So I was like, okay, come on, arms. Mm-hmm. But yeah, mm-hmm. like I said, I kind of noticed her body. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, when she was covered, your arms was out because it was like a sleeveless dress. So,
right.
But mm-hmm. I noticed more of her body versus the fashion as well.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be a fashion magazine.
Right. But you know what? To be quite honest, I'm tired of seeing black women being overly sexualized and treated as objects in rap lyrics and videos. Mm-hmm. Like you talked about earlier, the video vixens. Sometimes I ask myself, as a black woman, why are we still tolerating this behavior? And why are we still supporting these music artists, labels, and production companies? It seems like the starter package for any black female these days in the rap game, you must come equipped with what? What is we coming equipped with? It's always, you must have an overly sexual booty bounce.
Yeah.
AKA the what? Twerk!
I knew it was coming.
Yes. Sexually explicit lyrics and little to no clothing, exposing all and leaving nothing to the imagination. Now, y'all, don't get me wrong. I'm all for the black woman embracing her sexuality and exuding confidence in her femininity. So don't be like, oh, she just don't know. I'm all for that when it's done in class and it's
Correct.
Done tastefully.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
But over the years, there has been a surge in the black woman being overly sexualized and trending in the media, mm-hmm. and in our social media spaces. So that's kind of been bothering me. I am for look. Like I said, y'all, I get it. I'm not acting like this stuff is brand new. I'm from the Lil' Kim era where there was revealing body parts and sexual seductive lyrics. So don't hit me with, she acting like this vulgar behavior just came about. No, I'm not acting like it, because believe me, trust me, we had some in our era too. But these days, I be clutching my pearls, y'all, mm-hmm. because of these videos and borderline porn. Like they just borderline porn, these videos, mm-hmm. as well as some of these words that are spewed by these artists, mm-hmm. especially the female ones. Mm-hmm. I mean, the male, we already know.
Right.
They mm-hmm. gonna degrade us. They do all that, but wow, sometimes I listen to the words that's coming out of some of these female artists. If you thought Cardi B's WAP was something, now we have Sexy Red that is new to the rap game with her antics. Y'all know, let me just hit y'all with something. That she announced she is dropping a lipstick line. Yep, sounds cool, don't it? Like, kudos, girl. Hey, high five. She coming out with a lipstick line. I'm just going to pause for a minute. Like, y'all gone and high five. Ooh, a sister doing it. But I got to drop a bombshell. Like I said, sounds like a cool venture. But y'all, why is this chick naming the flavors of the gloss? Y'all ready for this? Listener land, y'all ready? Ooh, I'm finna drop these bombshells. She's naming the lip glosses Coochie Juice.
Oh, no.
Booty Hole Brown.
Ooh.
Coochie Pink.
Wow.
Sex on My Period.
Oh.
And Gonorrhea.
Look, have mercy.
Who wants to put that? Like, why? And where's her business manager? But you know why? Because nobody cares. It's like we're just ratchet. Like yes. I said, I got a little ratchet in me, so I'm telling y'all, I'm not acting like I'm better than nobody, none of this. But some of this stuff, y'all gotta clutch. Y'all don't clutching y'all pearls. Cause baby, I be clutching my pearls. Sometimes I just be wanting to know, where is the guidance and the business logic? But then again, it seems like we're in a race headed straight to the bottom these days, as we make everything about a coin and not about morals, dignity, and self-respect. Like, where is the dignity and self-respect?
And integrity.
Integrity, yes. Y'all, this sexy red foolishness makes Nelly's tip drill video seem PG. I mean, she's doing more than just a lipstick line. Like some of her, like I just didn't quote everything, but y'all go pull her up, listen to her. Woo, child, it's a lot. Like I said, she makes that tip drill video seem PG compared to what is out now. Now, don't get me wrong now. Nelly's tip drill video really did sexualize and treated women as objects. Especially the way that credit card was slid between the crack of that video vixen's rear end.
Yeah.
Woo, you know how when you go back and look, you're like, yeah. Y'all remember BET late night, them videos? And that's, like I said, we thought that was borderline porn, but the stuff they show now, it's not called BET late night or late night videos. Uncut, what's the name of those? Uncut. But there are some video shows, if you scroll through your TV late at night, for those that have cable, you will see some stuff. Or now you don't really have to have cable. These apps and things on your phone, you're like, ooh, what video? Who put that out? What is going on? Girl, I just be shaking my head. And I can go on and on regarding this topic, because you know what? It's so many twists and turns that we can create an array of conversation and opinions. But before I just go any further, I really just want to know, who should we really be mad at or hold accountable for the disrespect of the black woman in the media? That's a real good question.
This is true.
Is it the female who engaged in the behavior? Or is it the artists, labels, or production companies that push this type of agenda? Because you know what? Truth be told, if women chose not to participate, and if we as a people decided to phase out this era of explicitness and support more conscious rappers, because there are conscious rappers that exist, and more conscious content, then you know what? We would end this debate altogether. Because there will be a paradigm shift. There will be a shifting and shedding more of positive images and lyrics across all media platforms that will result in the black woman and black women as a whole, as well as our communities, being more respected and valued. Aquanette, what do you think about this? Like, any remarks regarding this? Like, who is responsible? Because like I said, I feel like as women, as a black woman, we have the choice to say no.
We do.
But we feel like as a culture, this is all we see because it's the norm. So we're following that starter kit per se. So what are your thoughts on it?
There's so many variables to that and a variety of answers and perspectives. But the one thing that I wanted to address is, when did we start accepting to be the objects?
Ooh.
That's the question that I have. I mean, we could always take it back to home environment, daddy issues. Maybe somebody was abused sexually. And so, again, statistics will show you that if a person is sexually abused and they're really young, it's trauma either way.
Right.
But if a person is sexually abused before they turn the age of 10, they will be confused about what is supposed to be sexually acceptable and what's not. So if there's nobody really telling them, and a lot of times we just tell kids you're not supposed to do that, but we don't tell them why. So if nobody is really explaining to them the why for that while they're that young, then unfortunately I think this is what we get. And it's not always the outcome. I'm just speaking very general right now. And then, of course, we can always still take it all the way back to slavery.
Oh, yeah, because during slavery times, we were put in cages to be on display and naked in those cages.
Naked in the cages. And then we were also objects for the master.
Right.
And he got to have us however, whenever, whatever way he wanted to. And unfortunately, and his friends, if anybody has seen Beloved, tragic. But that is actually real, and that's what actually happened. So it's one of those things that not only has it already been indoctrinated, I think I said that word right. Y'all know what I'm trying to say.
Listen, Land. Be kind to her. She got it wrong. You know, sometimes we get a little stuff wrong. Can't pronounce stuff. But we human, y'all.
That's right, we do. But if it's already in one generation, it's going to continue in the next generations. And that's why they call them generational curses. Because they're really just habits that have been passed down as accepted. So that's always been my question. Like, when did we start? And if we're aware, you know, my big thing is about awareness. If we are aware of it, then somebody needs to actually take a stand to correct it. And there are certain societies that are out there that are actually making, you know, their presence known. Like, there's more to us than our bodies.
Yes, it is.
And I hope that there's more that we can push for that instead of, and again, there's nothing wrong with the entertainment, you know, business at all, but it's how do you want to be portrayed? And again, we also have to go back to the environment.
Right.
A lot of times the people are doing what they grew up around. I'm doing what I grew up around. I didn't know that it was so different than some other people's environment that they grew up with. So things that are accepted, let's make it very, very basic. My daughter in high school was not allowed to show her stomach at all. She wasn't allowed to get nails at all. That's just something that you earn when you become an adult. Nowadays, not only do we get our nails done, we get our extensions. We show
13.
Yeah, we get our we get our belly buttons pierced as long as we get the parents' permission. And I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just saying the acceptance of the norm has changed and everything is so lenient now.
Right.
So with all of that being said, it's just always going to be a question for me. If you're allowing your daughter to show her stomach, everybody knows, okay, maybe now it's looked at as, well, she's comfortable with her body. She can be comfortable with her body all she wants to and keep it covered, because we understand there's a lustfulness that comes with that.
Right.
And I think that's something that people are just accepting, and it's scary. To me, it's scary.
This is like, where did we go where we stop letting kids be kids?
Right.
When I say that, let them be. From kids, go through the adolescence, say all the stages. It's just like, boom. Like they're in the car with you. Y'all both rapping Cardi B, Sexy Red, all this stuff. No.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Y'all know that's not. You go to any school, they have in pep rallies. I don't know if they call them pep rallies, but I know high school is pep rallies. Let's go back. Have y'all ever seen content come across your social media where the kids are dancing? What songs are they playing? Like in elementary, you'll see them. And it's like, really, they shouldn't even be listening to that. That's adult content.
All the way.
Yes, I get it. This is who they see. And I'm going to go back. I remember, I don't know how many years ago, but several years ago, what they call it now, Lotto, Big Lotto, whatever. She was on, Jermaine Dupri had like a reality show where it was kid stars, back to the rap game is what it's called. Yeah,
that's right.
So think about it. You had those children on there, and you see what I'm going with this. I know Lotto is grown, but follow me where I'm going with this. You see, she was on that show. Lyrics was awesome. She was writing her own raps then from what I saw on that show. How did we get from her being able to do that, not showing body parts or anything, to how she looks now? I mean, I give props as props do. Love her. She's back good. But I'm just saying, I'm just painting the picture of why come we couldn't still support her without all the cursing and her having to demean herself. That's where I'm going with this. Because on the rap game, she was an innocent She was a teenager, I believe, on this show. I forgot what, I think she was maybe 15, 16 during that time period. But you get what I'm saying? Like, why come she still couldn't have been that conscious, positive rapper that when she got older, when she signed her deal with whoever, I don't know, she's independent. Y'all don't get me wrong. I'm not going to go into this girl's background because I don't know it. But I just want you to follow the picture that I'm painting. Like, why do we feel that she had to
grow up so fast? Yeah.
Like, that's just the biggest thing to me. And like, she has to be sexualized, like, as an object. Like, why couldn't she have kept her innocence and just rapped?
Right. Yeah.
Like back in the day, I did grow up in the era of your MC Light, your Queen Latifah. I'm missing somebody. Oh, I can't think. But those type of rappers, those are the two that come to my mind. Like, where do we, like I said, that shift changed to where we have to feel like there's a twerk. And I'm so tired of twerking, y'all. I really can't twerk, but I'm tired of it.
So can I have a moment of transparency here? So I'm going to go ahead and confess. I don't know what came over me, but I was watching an episode of Bad Girls Club. I'm not sure why I did it, but I did. And it was an older episode. And I think it was from 2013. So even 10 years ago, twerking was huge. So I'm with you, Kiana. I'm so tired of twerking, hearing about twerking, because I thought about it. I was like, these girls are really excited to twerk for a gift.
Right.
What is really going on here?
And really, we can go back further. Twerking has been around, just we didn't have the name twerking. We used to call it booty popping.
Right, yeah.
So it's the same thing, but they just kind of take it a little bit further with how they make their booty pop. But I'm with you. It's just like people do anything for, I don't know.
It's greed.
It's just anything to twerk. It's like, oh, you twerk, yeah, but show it. What else can you do?
Right.
It's just like, when we going to get past that? Like, I'm so sick of just the twerk. Like I said, I listen to rap. I'm not going to act like I don't. But I would like to see more of the conscious rappers supported. I just think that's what we need. And like the whole point of me even doing this podcast, sometimes I feel like, I'm speaking blessings and positivity that we're going to skyrocket with what we're doing. But I know, truth be told, people want ratchetness, but that's not what I'm going to give you. You might get a tank sprinkled here and there, but this is not what I want to add. I don't want shock value.
That's right. You want substance.
I want substance because I feel like God put this on my heart for me to come in here to do this podcast just for my listener land lovers, because now y'all going to be my listener land lovers. Because y'all gonna love us here.
That's right.
I Am Kiana Skills podcast. I just want to drop gems on you, too, because you have so much of this wickedness and this waywardness. You have all of that thrown at you all day. I want this to be a place where we can have real talk and real conversations amongst relevant people.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, it's just, y'all, I just don't know what to say. Like I said, we can point the fingers, blame the record executives, but at what point when you go in there to do your video treatment, do you say, no, I don't want to do that?
Right, I'm not doing that.
We have to take some of the power back as artists. I say we, and I'm not an artist, but sometimes we have to take, I'm going to speak as women, have to take our power back. I feel like sometimes we get scared to speak up. And sometimes, you're going to lose a couple of bags, but you're going to have to ask yourself, and I get it, we all have bills, but you have to ask yourself, is it worth the bag or is it worth my dignity and my self-respect?
That's right. Yeah.
Like, stuff just keep popping in my head as we're talking. Suki Han, I think I'm saying her name right. She's from one of those Love and Hip Hop. Was she
Miami?
Was it a video where I don't know if she was shooting a video or just was on social media, but I seen this clip where it's like she was on her like walking like a dog or something on the ground, like, and I think the guy had her in a dog chain or something.
Yep.
And I was like, really? I'm like, some stuff I'm like, okay, people will say what the excuse they always make. Well, that's just Sukihana. Y'all know that's just how she is. But at what point do you say, you know what? I just let that man degrade me. Like, I wonder, do people sit back that have these type of behaviors? Like, do they ever just sit back and say, damn, this is, do you look back at that footage and really say, wow, why did I do that? Like,
you know what, Kiana? I have to say, I don't think so. I think it also still goes back to the type of environment you were in, what was accepted as okay and what was not okay. And a lot of times we've lost our morals. We don't have that compass anymore. So we don't do things of value because we grew up in an environment where we were devalued.
Right.
So I'm not saying that that's Sukihana at all. At the same time, if that's what she thinks is going to be okay, that's also going to be on her, because I think she's raising daughters as well.
I know she has some kids.
So, and that's the other part that, you and I would think, like, well, you've got daughters. Like, why would you think that that's okay? And I'm not saying you have to be a prude. And I know that was kind of what you were trying to insinuate there. At the same time, it blows my mind. It really does blow my mind that we are doing things in this era, knowing in the social media era, our children will see this at some point. It is no might, no maybe. If you are a social media star, or if you are a reality star, or whatever type of influence that you have, it's out there and they will find it. And then you have to explain to them what and why you did it. Going back to Bad Girls Club.
Like you pulled something up from 2013. It never goes away. Now we're all going to do some stuff that we probably, I know they say live life with no regrets, but some stuff you're just going to look back and be like, dang, I probably really shouldn't have done that. And I do want to give Sukihana her props, because I did hear interviews, I believe it was on the Breakfast Club, and I heard her speak with some dignity and morals.
Yeah, she does. She does have it.
But sometimes I think, so I guess, okay, let me drop this out there. Sometimes I think we have to separate the true person from their persona.
That's true too.
Because maybe that's the thing. That's her persona is Sukihana, and I want to say her real name, but I don't know it. So I was going to say, then we have to take whatever her real name and say, this is that person, but Sukihana is just a character. So maybe if we start looking at it that way, but then it goes back to you still, but you're the human. You're the one that still got degraded.
The action is still there.
The action is still there. So you have a point. I just wanted to say, to give her a props, because I have heard. I just don't want to make somebody think I'm bashing. No, I'm not bashing her. I just wanted to bring what I saw, and I didn't really care for the images I saw. When what most people say, well, go past her or whatever, don't follow her. No, I'm not following her. I don't think. No, I'm trying to think. I just watch her on TV. Now I do. Now, let's be clear. I do watch reality shows and all this stuff, and I always say they should put me on a reality show. I'm not here for the arguing or the fighting. I'm not here to be in Gucci, Louis, none of that all day. You're going to see the real me. You're going to see what I really have, and I'm going to show you what life is really about.
Right.
It ain't about every time you get with somebody, it's a fight, it's an argument, you don't like this person, or you can't be friends with me because that's your end. No, I don't believe in that.
Well, and interesting that you say that, because in all honesty, what we see on TV and social media is the minority.
Right.
It's not the majority of what's actually happening. So I just want everyone out there to know, if you didn't know, the things and the images that you're seeing, that's really the minority. It's not the majority of how we would prefer to be seen.
Right.
We don't want to be objectified. There's a lot of us out here that don't want to be ratchet. And I'll be honest with you, it's some people out here that don't even know they're ratchet, but they say they're not ratchet. But it goes back to how you grew up, what was considered acceptable and not acceptable.
Because that's their reality.
That's their reality, right?
Living in it, you don't realize, because it's normal to you.
Correct.
It's normal behavior and activity for you. So you're right about that. Because something like, you're like, I'm not ratchet. I don't. That's ratchet behavior.
Yeah.
And people are like, no. But then you have to, like you said, go back to their environment, how they're raised. It's like, okay, if that's all you know.
Correct.
Like if you say, like we'll say, credit card fraud is ratchet behavior. You out here stealing credit card. We like, but you like, no, my mom and aunties, they sit in the living room, do it all day. Then that's where you get, that means that's a norm for you. You think that's a job for them. Like they're clocking in doing it's like that's something that should be done. No, sir, no, ma'am. No. It, like you said, learn behaviors.
So we have to try and, I don't want to say unlearn what objectification is so that we don't experience it. Because again, the perception is how the other person sees it.
Right.
It's not necessarily, well, I may look at an image and say, well, that's a little too much. That's kind of objectified. And then another person may say, well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. There was a picture that was put on, I think it was on Facebook, and it was a sculpture of an African woman. And she was naked. The responses were astonishing.
Oh, wow.
Most of the people said that they thought it was beautiful art. And I looked at it differently. I was like, do we always have to be naked or have a boob out? Or to me, it didn't look like it was art. It wouldn't be something that I would put in my home, especially if it's around like smaller kids or children.
I'm dropping my head, y'all. Y'all can't see me in listening land because I have some stats, and it made me think about when we went. I think they're from Jamaica.
Okay,
and it's the what they call him, the Ready Dad, the Ready Freddy. It's a sculpture with and then it's a female one with. So when you said that, but they're in my bedroom, so nobody has business being in my bedroom, but me and my husband. So nobody really gets to see them.
Right.
Showcase, but I actually have them showcased in my bedroom as actual art because I really do like art. So when you said that, I was thinking with my art eye. That's why I dropped my head, because if I saw, depending, I have to see it. But it made me think about those sculptures that I purchased in, I think it was in Jamaica or the Bahamas, one of the two. So it made me think about that Ready Freddy or whatever they call it, and then I forgot what they called the woman, but I was like, oh, I have some nasty, but it's art to me.
Right.
But I'm thinking about it in my art eye. I'm not thinking about it being nasty or objectifying the male or that female body part. It's just like, oh, it's art.
And I'm also just looking, when I saw the picture, I just looked at it as, now how would I explain this to my daughter? Like, you can't be walking around with no shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not okay to parade around like the sculpture is right here. And maybe that's just me thinking too hard. Some people might say, well, you're just looking too deep into it. No, because whatever we plant in our kids is what they're going to carry with them.
And that's why parents have to be the first role model. Now, like going back to what I said, not all parents know how to be a role model. Like you said, if you grew up in the norm of ratchetness, we know that that's not good, acceptable behavior to society. But you have to do the best you can. So what you're working with, you're going to teach your child that, no, that's inappropriate. Go put on some clothes. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like,
that's right.
So it's a good teaching tool. I look at that as the way you're looking at life is about teaching tools, kind of like what I do. I use examples when I'm raising my son. He's grown now, but I use teaching tools. Whenever I can see something and say, this is what not to do. Right. Or this is what to do, and this is why you should do this. Correct. Everything was more of a teaching tool for me.
And that's the thing. Like, I feel like we have to know the why, especially when we're learning, when we're molding, I don't want to say our kids, but just any type of children that are around us, nieces, nephews. Like, you can't just tell them don't do it. Right. You have to give them the why. And I mean, they still may do what they want to do and suffer the consequences, but we're doing our part to actually put it out there so that there's another seed, a positive seed that's being planted for dignity, for self-respect, like we were talking about before.
Yes, and you have to plant that seed in young Black girls, because ultimately they become women, and to teach them that they have the right to say no in what happens to their bodies.
That's right.
And like I said, sometimes I can only imagine. I'm not an actress, but I can imagine if I want to go chase my dream right now in California, up in Hollywood somewhere, and I have to get one of those roles as a baby mom. Sometimes like I said, sometimes you do have to do what you have to do to get a shoe in the game, because I'm not going to act like, where you just gonna turn down every role, but sometimes you might have to take those roles. But just know that don't let them typecast you in there, and let them know
That's
that,
right.
hey, you know, we are more than this. Did you ever think that you could rewrite this script? I'm not telling you what to do. Now, some people gonna kick you out their studio because they're gonna try to tell you know more than them. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not asking you to go in there and tell a writer change their perspective and their script, because that's not polite.
Right.
But it's just like sometimes maybe you sat on this oh goodness, what am I trying to say? On the set with them long enough just to have a conversation, say, hey, you know, you do know black women can do this, and that. They're not always baby mamas. Or if you're gonna write this baby mama, does she have to be bitter? Can she be where she can co-parent
and have a level head?
And
even temper.
Yes. So it's just so much we can say, but the bottom line for this episode is just really just remember that you can lead with dignity and respect, and that all black women are not to be viewed as sexual objects.
And not all of us want to be viewed as sexual objects.
Right. Well, thank you again, Aquanet, for being my co-host on the I Am Kiana Scales podcast.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Real talk. Black women are more than sexual objects. Black women are human beings that deserve respect and honor. Please remember that sexual objectification is dehumanizing, and it regards women solely by their physical appearance and as objects of sexual gratification. It dismisses a woman's complexity as a human being with skills, qualities, and achievements that are deemed secondary to how sexy and hot she is. Please stop this behavior ASAP and let women have the right to their dignity and self-respect. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to I Am Kiana Scales on YouTube and Spotify, and follow I Am Kiana Scales on IG and TikTok. Also, download the Streets 99.3 app. Ladies, are you looking for the hottest fashions and accessories? Well, look no further. The Closet Experience has you covered. The Closet Experience has been delighting women of all ages and sizes since 2009. Visit theclosetexperience.com and save 10% with code PODCAST. That's PODCAST. The Closet Experience Boutique, where fashion and budget meet. The Closet Experience Boutique, where fashion and budget meet. Looking for homemade taste with a touch of elegance? Visit justadelight.com and let Delightful Cakes and Catering cater your next event or special occasion. Delightful Cakes and Catering, where homemade taste meets elegant simplicity. Real talk, real people, relevant conversations. The I Am Kiana Scales podcast.